Hi, everybody. Welcome to our fourth special recruiting Swampcast. I'm Robbie Andrew, the beat writer for the Gainesville Sun and Gatorsports.com. And with me is Zach Albaverde, who's done such a great job covering recruiting. And
thank you, Robbie.
Zach, we're getting down to crunch time now. And yeah, that great quote from Luganville saying, or Will Muschamp's going to sleep well on Tuesday night. But I don't think so. Coaches do not sleep well the night before signing day. And, you know, there's some questions out there. I know Caleb Brantley now has a letter of intent from FSU. Yeah. I don't know if he's using that as to have another hat on the table tomorrow or what?
Well, no, he's actually not having a ceremony at all. I talked to him last night. He's just signing in his guidance office.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anything there. To be honest with you, when I spoke with him, this was Monday night, I didn't even, he didn't even bring up FSU. I mean, I said, I said, did they send you an LOI? And he laughed and he said, yeah. I think it was something FSU did. I don't think he asked for one. I don't think he wanted one. I would be shocked if he goes to Florida State. I mean, Muschamp had an in-home visit with him the last weekend on Saturday morning and had a great time with him, Bryant Young, and DJ Durkin. They've recruited him. He wants to go to Florida. His family wants him to go to Florida. His girlfriend wants him to go to Florida. His grandmother told me earlier this year, I don't know if you remember, she said if he doesn't go to Florida, I'm going to starve him. So
can't do that to Grant.
I think he's going to be a Gator on Wednesday.
But here's another reason, though, why you don't sleep. On Twitter world now, Vernon Hargraves and Laquan Treadwell are going back and forth, talking about how tomorrow's going to be crazy. They can't wait. So people are going to say, hey, what's going on there? I know he's friends with Treadwell and Mdici, so who knows? I mean, it's just reason you have to wait until the letters come in before you can relax on signing
day. You do.
I
mean, there were the rumors with Hargraves and Ole Miss were out last week. I don't know if you remember, and I kind of put the fires out. I spoke with his coach. I spoke with his dad. I spoke with Jordan Sherrod, his best friend. They all said, no, he's not visiting there, he's not going there. And he even came out on Twitter and said, I'm going to the University of Florida to kill all these rumors.
Yeah.
But
until it comes
until
across.
They come in, but I don't think there's anything there. I mean, I think that was started by probably a bunch of old Miss fans and probably just people that, like you said, saw that interaction and said, well, maybe there's something there. But I don't think there is unless everyone that I'm talking to is lying to me. So.
But you know who the pressure is really on tomorrow, Zach? The guy in charge of the fax machine at UF. What if something goes wrong with the fax and suddenly it blows smoke and you're getting no letters of intent?
Or the ink runs out.
It's a high-pressure job, believe me. But Zach, let's look who's left. And I mean, even if Florida doesn't add anybody on signing day, which I think we both agree they will, they're going to have a really good class. So his ability to keep the guys committed that he had and getting the signature tomorrow, how important is that?
Let's understand that first, Gator fans. I mean, they don't need to add anybody else tomorrow, in my opinion. They will, and it's just going to be icing on the cake. But they have 26 commits. They filled every single need, maybe except defensive end, defensive tackle.
Which they could do that tomorrow.
They're going to do that. But, I mean, like I said, even if they didn't get another defensive end, another defensive tackle, you still got some great prospects along that defensive line. But it's important to remember that last year, Florida came in this thing into signing day with, I think, 21 commits. They had 8 uncommitted prospects that they were in contention for, and they whiffed on every one of them.
And they had a flip.
Yeah, I mean, they had a flip.
Fowler, which was huge.
That was huge, but as far as uncommitted kids go, they didn't get any of the kids that went into signing day without having not made their decision. So, and Muschamp kind of got the reputation as a guy who can't close.
Which is ridiculous because you close on every recruit.
Yeah, I mean,
whether it's in June, July, you have to close.
Yeah, you have to close.
So he is a closer. He's one of the best.
And you have to, and you got to think about this. I just spoke with Mike Farrell from Rivals.com, and he said Muschamp signing day was the early enrollment week. I mean,
that was huge.
He got Anzalone at the last second. He got Robinson at the last second. He got Matt Rowland, who had flipped a couple weeks prior. So. It's important to understand that he already has a great class. He's already fulfilled all of his needs. And, Gator fans shouldn't get disappointed tomorrow if they miss their 6th defensive end target or a JUCO defensive tackle or a 3-star wide receiver. I mean, while they would be great to have for depth and, to bring to the table, it's not going to – Florida's going to eat regardless.
Yeah, and fans get caught up in the rankings, Zach. Florida's been number 1 in Rivals for a while now. It looks like Alabama will probably be number 1 after tomorrow again. But that happens every year now with Saban. He does get a bunch of good guys at the end and gets his class number 1 in the country. So no shock there. And Ole Miss is that's probably the story of the recruiting year right now.
Yeah, they've done an impressive job. But, I think Gator fans can appreciate the class that they have, or at least they should. And there are a lot of schools that would trade
No
their commitments
question.
for Florida.
Absolutely, no question about that.
So, but the guys who are on
yeah.
the board, let's talk about those. The first one that's going to announce in the morning is Jannard Boswick. He's down to Florida, Miami. Alabama is listed as a finalist, but his coach told me he's not going to Alabama. So I like Florida here. I mean, obviously Miami is the hometown school. They were his favorite. He had said that openly throughout his recruitment, but Florida's made a great push late. He has the best relationship with Bryant Young out of any other coach. They had a great visit to Florida during the last weekend, and I just like Florida's chances here.
I do too, Zach. And I think he's one guy, he's a priority, I think. Closing with him and filling that tackle need on the defensive line is big. Yeah, and then sticking with tackle, Jaron Reed, the JUCO defensive tackle who I alluded to earlier, he was committed to Ole Miss for a while, decommitted over the weekend. Most Gator fans know he played with Darius Cummings this past year and also has a relationship with Damian Jacobs. They didn't play together, though. Yeah, but they know each other well.
Yeah, they know. He actually knows Damian better than he knows Darius. But now he's done with Ole Miss. He's down to Florida and Alabama. I'm still on the fence about what I'm going to do with him.
I'm with you on that one.
I mean, you'd think Florida has a great shot, and they probably do, and they could land him, but he's visited Alabama the past 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks, and then decommitting.
Yeah,
so.
and the second one, that was on his own dime. I mean, I understand he's really close to being in Scuba, Mississippi, but that's still a drive that he had to take and to stay there. So we'll see what he does. Defensive end, Tayshawn Bauer, he was committed to, or is committed to Auburn. He visited there this past weekend on his own dime. But he's having a decision on Wednesday. Yeah. I mean, he told me that he's down to Florida and Auburn. He doesn't really have a third school that in mind. He'll probably put a hat on the table, but it's going to be Florida or Auburn. Yeah. He's really hard to get a read on. He grew up a Gators fan, which I know how you feel about that.
Every time there's a Gator fan growing up, they go somewhere else.
So we'll see what he does. I mean, the fact that he's making an announcement and he's committed to a school, you would assume that it doesn't sound good for
there's
Auburn.
No news if he's going to recommit.
What are you making an announcement? But he wouldn't be the first. I mean, Jawan Story was committed to Florida and had a signing day decision between Florida and Ohio State and stuck with Florida. So it happens. So we'll see what he does. James Clark is really the only receiver left on the board. Ryan Timmons, it looks like he's going to go to Kentucky today.
They would love to fill it out with Clark, though, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a playmaker.
And he announced his top 3 on Monday with Florida, Ohio State, and Clemson. I love Florida with him. I mean, the in-state school, it seemed like when they offered him, it really meant a lot to him. The fact that he came down on his own dime last week.
Weekend,
I mean, that really says a lot when a kid and their parents come out of their way, especially this late in the process, to come visit a school and they pay for the trip. That shows you how serious they are.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think he's going to pick Florida. He announces at 9 a.m. By the way, none of these kids are on TV, so you got to stay tuned to us to figure out where they go.
Zach, you've done a great job of that. And watch out for Ohio State on this one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Meyer, he can close
that's
on signing day.
That's who he visited the weekend before he came to Florida. So, obviously, he'd be a great fit for their spread offense, and I'm sure he sold him on being the next Percy Harvin and probably talked a lot of bad stuff about Florida. So, Jalen Ramsey would be the only guy that's left, but all the reports this morning are that he's going to go to Florida State. So that's a tough loss for Florida just because they recruited him for so long and they made him such a top priority. But again, I've said for the last couple of weeks, everybody that's left on Florida's board is basically a luxury.
It really is. It's a bonus if any of them come on board, which a few will, I think.
Yeah, and for the Gator fans that are upset about him leaving, go watch some Vernon Hargraves highlights, and you'll feel better about the quarterback.
Believe me, you will definitely.
But all in all, it's been a great class, and we'll see where these guys go tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we're getting down to it now, Zach, and tomorrow we'll have another Swampcast after signing day. And Zach, you've done a great job covering recruiting. We're not a recruiting service. We're not a paid recruiting service. But if you've followed Zach, you've been up to date on all the recruiting news. So keep following Zach on Gator Sports and the Gainesville Sun. You're going to be up to date. And we're going to close this one out. We'll see you tomorrow after signing day. Should be a big day for the Gators.